I'm Rena Nicole. I pose, I promote, and I'm passionate about our planet. I seek individuals from all over the world who are committed to making a positive impact on the world around them. So the question I have for you is, do you want to make a positive impact on the world around you? Well, do you?
Absolutely.
Hi.
Hi. Where are you?
I'm in Maui with you.
What's the date today?
Today is August 8th, 2011.
Which means what?
It's our
Video of me kissing my beautiful wife in front of a waterfall.
On our third wedding anniversary, my husband Ryan and I just happened to be in Maui. Though on this particular day, I had a big job to do. A candid interview with the world-renowned Susan Teton, who has written a great book about the health benefits of oils, and a DVD series which I swear by called Essential Cuisine. Watch as we dive right into this intimate affair. But first, check out her backyard. Dang!
It's so wonderful to meet you. Finally.
Thank you.
I've been looking at your Essential Cuisine DVD series and really enjoying the work that you've provided for hundreds and millions of people now online.
That's so
and
good to hear.
Yeah, it's really, really great, and I just wanted to thank you for doing that work. And I was wondering, what inspired you to create Essential Cuisine, and what is Essential Cuisine?
Wow. You know, it was basically after lecturing for years about food and the environment and teaching people, you know, how to be healthier and that food really mattered. I found that people didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like dragging someone, let's get in the kitchen and let me show you some basics. And that's what really inspired me. It was after all that lecturing. I remember a mom coming up to me saying, I was doing a lecture at a school, and she says, I really hear you. I believe that I have to change things at home, but how do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
And I just always heard that, you know, and I found that as an author and an activist and a lecturer, a lot of people are yak, 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 but they don't teach you how.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided it would be really hard for me to write a book. So I had been in the film industry, and I thought, let's just put a camera in front of me and let me just show you how. Let me show you what I know.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
And that was you had first shot the
first DVD
series.
was like 2006, 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's now 2011.
Yes. So yeah, it was 5 years ago. Yeah.
And it's finally reached me.
That's right. That's right. It seems to be traveling around the world a lot. I get emails from people all over. As a matter of fact, one just wrote me and said, when we don't have anything on TV, we always put your DVDs on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that cool?
It was cool. That was awesome. Yeah. And so how did you learn all that you know now about raw food and
nutrition.
And all of these things?
I went to a camp in 1991 in Oklahoma, and there was a shaman there and his wife, and they taught a class called Whole Brain Functioning. And his name was David Jubb, and Annie Jubb, and David's fairly well known now for his all of his nutrition. But it completely awakened me and transformed my life. I was in the film business, and I ate like I thought normal people did. I always dieted, but I didn't have any idea that our food choices had anything to do with the environmental issues. And he said the single most powerful book we could read, or that I could read, would be Diet for New America by John Robbins. And so I picked up that book, and I was so moved and motivated to make healthier food choices because I understood the power of my fork for the environment and for the animals and sustainability. And then I learned all this raw food, but nobody knew what we were talking about. What's raw? You mean you don't cook anything? You know, are you eating crickets? Somebody asked me. And so I remember reading Diet for New America, and I closed the book at the end of it, and I said, now those are the kind of people I want to work for. And a year later, I was called by, I had a colleague of mine in the film industry that was on their board, and she called me and she said, I don't know if you know it or not, but we're looking for someone to get, do a program to get healthier food in schools. Would this interest you at all? And so there I went to Earthsave International, which was John Robbins' organization, and I began to, with my partner, that was the co-director of the program, Todd Wyatt, he and I went in and investigated all the schools and looked at the whole school lunch infrastructure, and then wrote this Healthy School Lunch Action Guide, and worked with parents and food service administrators all across the country to help get healthier food in schools and to teach them about food and the environment. But that was then. And then I went to all the natural food shows for years, and I learned about different fats and oils and different manufacturers and producers of food as these industries grew. And so I always learned how to eat healthier and better, and so I was just incorporate that into my own life. And after lecturing for years, I decided, let's just get in the kitchen and teach people how. Yeah, so we just kind of one step after another.
And so now that you have this DVD series out, and it's been a few years, what is it that you do? What is it that you do now? How is it that you are contributing now?
Well, I work diligently on marketing the DVD, so they get through other distribution channels on the internet, and they're now, of course, on Amazon, and Whole Foods finally has started to carry them. And here in Hawaii, I work, I teach classes, and I work with a lot of nonprofits too. We're really working on getting more sustainable food systems here in the islands, and teaching everyone how to eat healthier. Because everybody wants to, and everybody's a little confused. Particularly nowadays, we all know food really matters. Right. But okay, what for me? And everybody's different. And that whole low-fat thing got people off fat. And then a lot of the vegetarians and vegans were eating a lot of processed foods that like carbohydrates and things like that. They weren't getting their good fats or enough protein. So it's what really matters. You know, so I really teach, you know, how to make specific things and what's the most important thing.
Now, Food Matters, you mentioned Food Matters.
Yeah.
I found your DVD series on foodmatters.tv. Now, how did you get involved with them?
Well, I saw what they were doing, and I wrote them a letter. I said, I love what you're doing, I love your movie, because I've been in this industry and trying to teach this for 20 years. So there weren't movies out. There was only us going around lecturing to schools, and you know. So I just thought, wow, this is fantastic. And so I wrote them and said, what can I do for you? Can I help you in any way?
And you had already had the series.
Yes. And so I sent them to them, and they loved them because I'm not advocating being a vegetarian or a vegan or a raw foodist or any kind of dogma or strict type of diet. I'm trying to teach people how to eat from the earth and not the factory. And so I do raw food because it's really important, I think, for people to understand the basics of raw food nutrition. Why, you know, it's not about your broccoli being raw. It's really about your nuts and seeds being utilized in the most way that they can be assimilated and absorbed into the body, and where you retain the essential fatty acids. And it's a great way to get off sugar. So raw food is an awesome way to make raw desserts and get off sugar and into more whole foods. And then I did cooked foods on vegetables and legumes and chickpeas and things like that that most people don't know how to work with. And good fats and oils, like how you can use them topically and keep the integrity of the food intact but still have a luscious meal that fills you up. And we need our good fats for radiant skin and flexible joints. It's really important, our fats. Most people are starving for good fats. Really, really. I mean, I have a lot of people that come to my classes and they'll go drink the dressing, they'll take the dressing and they'll go, can I have more? I just want to drink that. It's so good. It's just that their body's really starving for some good fats. You know, and after about a week of eating the same dressing, they go, okay, I've had enough. You know, they get tired of it. And then I put cultured foods in because in all of the regions in the country where people live to be 100 years old, they all have a naturally fermenting food in their diet. And so making your own cultured vegetables that are like sauerkraut, but sauerkrauts like on the shelves in most stores have been pasteurized, so they're dead. They don't have all that friendly flora and that probiotic essence to them. And they also have been heavily salted. So I did the basics of cultured foods.
Okay.
And like kefir as well.
Yeah.
And culturing your milk.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just getting ready to come out with a new series, which is going to go into some of the Ayurvedic things and herbs.
Oh, nice.
And using herbs and spices too, because they're medicinal. They're highly medicinal. And people are a little confused on those too. And there's a certain way to use them.
Right.
And then I'm going to do some more on cultured foods as well.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. I can't wait. I'm going to go out there and get it myself. You were saying about sugar, how people need to get off sugar. What is this, what is going on with sugar? That people, that if you were to like, somebody off the street who's just like, you know, I really want to get healthy and I really love pastas and pastry, and these are like my favorite things. How can I give up these things? You're saying no sugar. Well, why can't I have sugar? What is the big thing about sugar?
Well, you know, there's pasta, and that's a high carb, but I wouldn't really classify that as a sugar.
Okay.
When I'm saying sugar, I mean like candy and soda and dousing a lot of sugar in your food. And a lot of desserts and things like that, because sugar causes inflammation, and the root of all disease is inflammation. Arthritis and a lot of your skin problems and even cancer and diabetes and all these things are caused by, you know, they say that inflammation is where it starts. And usually people have such dramatic changes in their health if they would just get off sugar and junk food and food from that factory. Not the earth, you know, just
so
processed foods, Get off processed foods and bad fats, hydrogenated fats, and things like that. So what a lot of people have thought is, I've got to get off fats. So hydrogenated fats are bad for me, but then they think, I better not eat all this other good fat. So if they just get off sugar and bad fats, because these are responsible for inflammation, and inflammation is the root of all disease.
So starches are okay?
Well, they release slower in the system. You know, they're a much slower release, like a really good whole grain pasta. Yeah, it's a higher carb, but that's okay. We need carbs for energy. I mean, I personally eat a lot of really whole grain breads. I just don't know how people could live without them, but I need them for energy and for bulk. Yeah.
But fruits are okay, like all fruits. And
if you have, the problem is that the human body in our culture has become sick, and so you need to get off of all of those things, like even fruits. Like if you've got a candidiasis problem in the gut, and then you can't have any sugar until you reverse it. So it so depends on the body. It so depends on the body. I mean, I do definitely enjoy fruits, but I'm not sick anymore.
Right.
You know, so I can have whole fruits in my diet, and most people can. You know, just if you take a lot of people that are obese and really have problems, just getting them off processed foods and bad fats and getting good fats into their life and more whole foods, dramatic change. Dramatic. I saw a guy the other day, I could not believe the difference in him. And he's a man that was, I think, 60 years old. And I saw him like 4 months ago, and he was puffy and overweight, and his skin looked dry, and he says, you know I should eat better. You know, he's whining. And so I saw him the other day at the market, and I went, oh my God, you look so much better. His skin was robust and shiny, and his hands were less swollen, and he dropped like 3 pounds. And he just took out junk food, started eating really good food. And he's got a ways to go. You know, I says, you're sensitive now. You're going to have to just keep up with what you're doing, because he looked great. So our bodies are amazing that they can reverse this like this. But people need to know how to put fresh, good foods in their life to where it's not boring and it fills them up. It makes them happy. We've got to have some pleasure.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the things that I've actually had struggles with, like in the past. You know, trying to figure out what kinds of things I can do. And that's one of the things I really loved about your series, was just, you know, the variety of things one could put together. Because I was in a very, very strict diet of just like meat and vegetables, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, this is I really need something to add in.
Yeah.
So yeah, these TV series really helped with that,
Yeah.
and I really love just adding those things back in. You know, the oils and the flaxseed oils and the fruits and all those different things. The desserts are amazing.
Aren't they good?
Yeah.
And even the dressings, you know, somebody gave me dinner last night, and they're really good cooks.
Mhm.
And they gave me a salad and some pasta with a red sauce on it. And I came home going, oh, I like my own food so much better. But it was like, there's something about really using good quality fat. When you use a really high quality flax oil that has amazing taste, or an exceptional olive oil, or even if you can get raw butter or use real butter and put it on your vegetables or ghee, oh my gosh, they're just delicious. Where a lot of people think, oh, that's so bad. And if you're trying to lose weight or something, I suppose that you would definitely have to count your calories and fat grams. But if we get our bodies stable, we can usually eat these foods abundantly, and you cannot overeat them.
Once you get to the point of,
Of
once you're
wellness.
at optimal health.
Yeah.
So really, what I'm hearing you say is to get yourself to a point of optimal health, and then reintroduce those things kind of back in and start living that lifestyle of living at your essence or your optimal way of living your life.
Well, I think when we're healthy, like myself last week, somebody brought over organic ice cream, and it's this brand that's really rich. It's not whipped a lot, so it's more like homemade ice cream. You know, once you put it in your bowl, it kind of starts to smell like, I love ice cream. And I don't eat ice cream really anymore.
Because it's dairy, or
no, just because it's a lot of sugar, and I just kind of gotten off of it. I just it's not a thing. I mean, and for me, ice cream, if I have it in the house, I'm just going to want to eat it every day, and one bowl is never enough.
Yeah,
I just love good ice cream, and I love the coconut ice cream that Coconut Bliss is making now.
Yeah,
that's great. But this one, oh, it was the best ice cream I've ever had. And so I ate it like 3 or 4 days in a row. I had a nice big bowl of ice cream. And I'm actually trying to put on a little weight. I know that sounds weird, but anyway, so it was okay for me to eat in that way. But I definitely noticed a difference.
The sugar.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't sleep as well. I got a little run down because I was eating coffee ice cream, and so it kind of gave me a boost.
And then
yeah, and I had to pay for it. It just didn't feel really great. Now, did anything start hurting, or but I can't do it 3 or 4 days in a row like that, because I just start to feel the out of balanceness. I mean, your body gets out of homeostasis, and when you're in homeostasis and you're really feeling well, I mean, there's just, life is so great.
So maybe like 1 day a week.
Yeah,
would be good.
Yeah,
you can go 6 days. On the 7th day, you splurge, and then you can go
exactly.
back.
Yeah, or 2 days in a row might be okay.
Right.
But, I know that's just a little example. It does make a difference. That's what I'm trying to say. Most people don't recognize the difference. I had a little boy over here today. He came over. He's 11, and he's in football practice now, and he ate a lot of sodas and candy all the time. We've all tried to get him to eat better, but he just doesn't do it. So he's in football practice now, and the coach has him really running. And he cleaned up his diet, and he hasn't had a soda like in 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I said, so can you tell the difference? And he said, yeah. He says, when I get up now, I get up and I move really quickly. He said, before, my dad, I'd get up and go, I'd be slow. And he was overweight. And his dad says, you look like an old man when you get out of the chair. And I says, that's great that you notice this. And I says, how about your anger or your being able to focus? And he sat there and he thought, he goes, actually, I am a lot calmer. So I said, it's so good you're starting to get in touch with your body, because we are that sensitive. Yeah. Most of us are. Yeah.
So there's a lot of wonderful places to eat out here in Maui, and I've experienced some of them. And I've had a difficult time trying to find like a happy balance. Are there any tips you could give, or like, do you have like a bag that you carry with you of like some of your dressing or something when you go out?
I do.
Do you really?
I have these little leak-proof jars.
Really?
And I'll make my dressing and I'll pour a little in there, or if I don't have the dressing, I'll just take a really good olive oil. Because I can order anything in a restaurant and pour olive oil on it and a good salt. And I have a little salt container too.
Okay.
Yeah. I call it the pack and go.
Really? You might want to just package that. And
I know, I'm going to. I'm actually going to.
Really?
Yeah. Little pack and go
Okay.
kit. So you can have your salt in a couple of leak-proof containers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because most of your restaurants don't have good fats or oils.
Yeah.
They don't want
I've
to spend the
noticed
money
that.
on them.
Yeah. Like there was a couple places that I've gone to. Do you want ranch or honey mustard? And I'm like,
Yeah.
anything else?
When I go out here, I usually like to get local fish.
Uh-huh.
And then you can usually get lots of good vegetables.
Uh-huh.
You know. And if I don't have anything, I'll just ask for olive oil, or sometimes I'll just ask for butter. But I'm really picky about any dairy being organic. So I don't carry that with me. But we do have some great restaurants here that have some good soups.
Okay. Any suggestions?
Well, Alive and Well.
Okay.
Yeah, which is down in Kahului. They have a great little deli.
Okay.
And then the general store up in Makawao where you're staying, they have it's the same chefs.
Oh,
They have
okay.
some good food too.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I kind of went there a little late last night, and a lot of their stuff was already gone. But okay, I'll check.
You know what?
it
I want to
out.
answer your question about the bagels, and you didn't say bagels, but you said
I didn't say
croissants.
well,
Yeah.
Well, that's I'm asking
Bread.
for the general.
Yeah.
The people in my life that love those things and see me not eating them and then like pining over what they're having on their plate, and I'm just like having.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to know. You know, that's kind of. I noticed that people of my particular makeup have a really difficult time with starches.
Yeah.
Like, I have two brothers who are vegan, for animal rights reasons, not necessarily for health reasons. And it's actually kind of not really working with their particular health concerns that they've developed as a result of becoming vegan. But one of my issues, and I talk about this on my website, are my issues with self-medicating with food, particularly with starches. And it's not necessarily, like, you know, pasta is one of those big things, but breads, cookies, crackers, anything that's starch. And you know, I've been to a nutritionist who's also an energetic healer and does all these other kinds of things. He said, yeah, you have a sensitivity to rice, which is like the other alternative to wheat, which means it's like, okay, I can have oatmeal.
I love
which
oatmeal.
is like, oatmeal's good, but you know, and so I guess
I
question.
whole grain. If you can just get whole grain breads, I love mana bread. It's dense, but it's sprouted.
Okay.
I make my own mini mana breads.
Okay.
But I always have a whole grain toast in the fridge. You know, because sometimes you just want a sandwich. I mean, last week I came home and I had some raw cheese, and I went, I want a grilled cheese sandwich. And now I haven't had a grilled cheese sandwich in I can't even remember when. But I put coconut oil on it.
Yeah.
And I had some really whole grain bread, and then I put all kinds of my homemade sauerkraut inside and a couple of lettuce leaves. It was so good.
Nice.
It was really good.
And
so you need that sometimes. I think we need some bulk. So, you know, but I personally try to stay away from any white flour products. It doesn't mean I don't have them now and then.
Right.
You know, if you've ever been to Europe, then you've had the best croissants in the world.
Yes.
And when you get a croissant here, it just doesn't measure up. So
Right.
it sort of doesn't bother me. And half the time it's not that good.
Right, right.
But I have hunted out in Mana Foods where you were. They have the best cinnamon rolls in the world.
The
Don't even try one.
macadamia nut.
They're great. They're like this
cinnamon
big. And I remember like once a month I would go cinnamon roll day.
rolls? Just once a month, though.
Yeah. Now and then, yeah, you do that. But you know what? Here's the deal, and this is really important for people to know. If you've got an ecosystem, meaning your gut, if that is brimming with probiotic bacteria, and you don't have a candidiasis situation, you're going to be able to handle those foods so much better. And people don't realize that mostly people have dead food in their diet. They don't have a living probiotic food, like a naturally fermenting food that I mentioned earlier, like the centenarians. If that is a regular part of your diet and your ecosystem is really working well, you're going to be able to handle those foods so much better. Because, and this is what I tell parents with their children, if they start off the day with a kefir or something that's got a lot of probiotic bacteria, if they're going to go to a birthday party or something like that in the afternoon and have cake and ice cream, they're going to deal with it so much better if their intestinal tract is in really healthy, vibrant order. And everyone's isn't.
Right.
And that's why you see all these advertisements on TV about Activia or whatever, because these things are flooding the marketplace now.
And the probiotics.
The probiotics.
Yeah.
And most people are taking them in a pill.
Right.
That's why I teach people how to make your own sauerkraut, or I call them cultured superfoods, because I'll put in carrots and all kinds of vegetables besides just cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so easy to make on your own. They're so affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot more friendly bacteria than a pill.
Right.
So you have a much more valuable food source. And you can buy, there are some brands out there you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
And
of the like sauerkraut,
yeah,
things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you just put a couple of tablespoons on your, and eat it with every meal. And I've had a lot of my clients call me and say, I can't believe the difference in my digestion.
Okay. So maybe that's the secret.
It really makes a big difference, is getting,
Okay.
yeah,
Huh.
absolutely.
Hey there, folks! We needed to take a quick intermission, so while we're changing the set, I wanted to encourage all you parents out there to check out Susan Teton's Healthy School Lunch Action Guide in our show notes at the end of this presentation. And now, back to our interview.
We're back. We're back. Took a little break. It's really warm here. Very humid and wonderful out here in Maui. But also very, very hot. Wearing polyester clothing. But it looks good. So
You look great. Okay.
So you, by the way. Wonderful. Love your colors. So you brought out some things to share with me that I know nothing about. Well, maybe I know a little bit about. I don't know if these are not on your series.
They actually are. Well,
they
most
are
of
on
them,
your
yeah.
series. Okay.
I didn't bring the kefir, but when I was talking about probiotic bacteria
Okay.
and cultured foods, I thought, well, let me show you some.
Okay.
So, of course, we're very lucky here. We have the beautiful coconut. This is a very aged coconut. It's a little more mature, so it's got quite a bit of meat in it. And a lot of people really love the spoon meat, and they love the water inside. So you can take the water, yum yum, drink it down like it is.
Yeah.
You know? And then you'll get, if it's a young coconut, the spoon meat, what they call is very, very thin, and it's like jelly.
Yeah.
And you just spoon it right
I've
out
done
and
that.
eat it. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
But the more mature coconuts have quite a bit of meat, and this is a more mature one. It was really hard for me to use my machete on it because it was so thick. But you know, these guys that go one thing, you know,
Right.
I'm not that good. So anyway, here's what I culture. By culturing, I mean fermenting, and I don't know if your camera can see this, but it's a dart. It's really, see all the white stuff on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of floated down there.
Okay.
So the water is, we use a kefir culture, a kefir starter. Can you hear that?
It's got a little hiss going on.
Yeah. There we go. So this has been fermented.
Okay.
And what we do is you put the kefir starter in it, and you just let it sit overnight, maybe 18 hours.
Okay.
And it just ferments itself. It makes itself. That's all there is to it. It's so simple.
Okay.
So I'm just going to shake it up so it gets the stuff, and I thought you might like to taste it.
Okay.
Now, before you make a face after you taste it, I want you to know that it's sour.
Okay.
And you can see it's like champagne.
Okay.
Hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like bubbling. It's very like champagne. So I'll just give you a little taste here.
Okay, and this is just coconut water.
It's coconut water that's been kefired. Like kefir milk, you know, have you seen in the stores? It's this milk that's cultured. You put the kefir starter in it, you warm it up, you let it sit for a couple hours. I mean, not a couple hours, like 24 hours.
It's like soda, but
Yeah.
not. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it has that kind of effervescent
Yeah.
quality to it.
Well, like
And
kombucha, when you go into the stores, you
Yeah.
get kombucha. So this is a fermented product like kombucha, but it's made with this incredible fruits.
So I can do
Water.
this instead of milk.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Yeah.
those of us who are vegan
Mm-hmm.
and need to get some probiotics going in
Mhm.
their systems.
This is an
this
excellent
would
source
be-
because it's so high in minerals.
Oh. Good stuff.
And then
Cheers.
this is the meat that has been cultured into what I call a coconut yogurt. And I make this all the time and teach classes.
Okay.
Now take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. Looks
Now-
like coconut meat.
I know, I just made this. So
And
it
how do
looks,
you make it?
well, you blend up the meat, and then you add a little bit of the kefir that's already been made to it. And then
This kefir
Uh-huh.
milk?
yeah,
Okay.
the water.
Okay.
The water, and you just put a little bit of that in there, a certain amount, and then you put the lid on, you keep it nice and warm and put it like in an incubation. I wrap it in a blankie and I put it behind my pillows here, and that's how it keeps.
Oh,
And
okay.
just keeping it kind of nice and warm. I'm in a warm culture. If you're at home and you're making kefir, you can use a cooler and put some hot water bottles in it. It
Okay.
just keeps it kind of warm all night.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it, and it's this amazing meat of the coconut. I'll just give you a little taste first. Now, I added a little salt this time.
Okay. Is it normally pretty sweet?
No, it's very tart.
Okay.
It's been just cultured. Now, you could add a little sugar, a little honey, a little, because it's going to eat the sugar.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It will eat the sugar, so.
It's almost like plain Greek yogurt.
Uh-huh.
How plain Greek yogurt tastes, at least to me.
I have a bike-car cameraman, too. in the moment.
All right.
I
That's good.
love this stuff. I eat a bowl of it every morning for breakfast.
And can you have it with fruit, or is it better to have
I put-
plain?
Oh no, I put fruit on it. I put blueberries, chopped
Okay.
apple,
Mm. Yeah, that would be good.
lilikoi, papaya, or local fruits.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
And then these are the cultured vegetables I was talking about, like sauerkraut.
mhm.
And you can see that. See, it smells good.
Mhm.
It smells a little funky because I haven't opened it in a long time, but this was in my fridge. And these are the cultured vegetables, and I think we've got beets in here, and onions, and kale, and cabbage.
And you put kefir mix in there too, or no?
This we use, no, you don't need anything. They ferment on their own. You want to taste them?
Sure. If you want to just put on the plate, and I'll take some.
Huh?
Oh, okay. That works.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. And they're pretty crunchy. I hope they taste all right.
Mm-hmm.
People go nuts for these. They come over and want to buy them from me all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's like a relish.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put it with a hot dog or something.
Mm-hmm. And it's very juicy at the bottom. And you just get used to, like in my DVD series, like just have a tablespoon with every meal.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually kind of part of what the new food pyramid should be. Like you have your raw vegetable, you have like a probiotic of some sort, or something like that, and then
You're
you know,
absolutely
what else?
right.
What else would you add to it? Like the new food plate.
Yes.
It was the pyramid, now it's the food plate, but now the food plate's not good enough. So now what would the
Right.
food plate be?
It would be, I think, lots of greens, you know, lots of vegetables, and
raw.
an excellent oil, an excellent fat, source of fat, so
Okay.
you get your essential fatty acids,
Mm-hmm.
and that they're in their integrity, whether it's nuts or seeds or a pressed oil,
Okay.
and a cultured food,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and some sort of protein.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
a lot of
protein,
people,
meat protein or tofu?
well, I think it's up to a personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are getting anti-grain lately. And I love the alkaline grains, quinoa, amaranth, and millet.
Okay.
Those three grains are all alkaline, so they're much easier to absorb and to digest. Oatmeal's great.
Mm-hmm.
And some people really want to watch food combining, that's another thing. But I think that just you're not going to have the whole food combining thing on the new plate.
Right.
You
Or
know.
you could just eat the fruit first and then have,
Let it digest.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you have those 3-hour meals that you should be having during the
Yeah,
day instead
right.
of like the 30-minute meals or the 3-minute meals that
Uh-huh.
you have as
Yeah.
you're driving out of whatever fast food restaurant you want to go to.
Yeah.
But so taking time with your meal and maybe eating around the plate in an order that would support your
I just think,
biology.
you know, real food from the earth.
Mhm.
Just wholesome food from the earth.
So is it good to eat cultured food before you eat everything else or last?
Well, you know, that's a really good question. I tend to eat it at the end of my meal because that's the way it tastes good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really awesome to have some in the morning and maybe a couple of sips of this before you go to bed so that you have all this brimming, you know, good flora into your system during the night.
Oh, that's good.
And then in the morning so you set your system up,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of shift gears, and thank you for showing me these
Yeah.
wonderful things and letting me taste them, and I'm sure you'll love to taste this a little bit.
You're wanting some, aren't you? Your turn's coming up.
I kind of want to just shift gears to more of a kind of a personal about you and about. You said you were in the film industry. Well, where could you tell me a little bit about how before Chef Teton came to be? Who was Susan as she was like growing up? What made Chef Teton who she is today? Like from the beginning.
I think I had all my life I had a real passion to make a difference. I didn't know what that was, but I knew I really wanted to do it. Is to really make a difference. And I was very involved in health always. I was always reading nutrition books. My son was had antibiotics 4 times before he was a year old, and it really disrupted his whole ecosystem. Now my son is in his early 40s now. So when I put him on an elimination diet when he was 10, we didn't have health food stores. We didn't have anything but fast food rising. And he had horrible allergies, but we didn't understand why. So when I took him to this doctor, he said I want him to go off milk and dairy and peanut butter and orange juice and no chemicals of any kind, no processed foods. I had to make everything fresh. But my son turned into a different human being within 2 weeks. His eyes were clear, his nose didn't run, his cheeks didn't get all pink. And he could sit still and study, and he was happy and harmonious. And then he turned, 13, and he was out the door and ate horrible again. And his body was very much disrupted, and he had a lot of problems with his health for years. And that drove me all the time to learn more. And the more I learned, the more I was passionate about sharing it, because I thought, why these people don't realize that their kids are suffering and needlessly, just to change their diet. And because I always wanted to make a difference when I was in the film industry, and I was like, I would drive to and from work. And
what did you do in the film
I was
industry?
a producer, and I just worked on a lot of different films to get started, just doing one job after another. And I did craft service, if you know what that is, that's the food.
Oh, yeah.
I did that for one film. That was a blast. So there, I seem to be getting always around food. But these programs I was working on had nothing to do that had any value to people.
Right.
I didn't think.
Yeah.
And when I read Diet for a New America, that was like, oh, that had value. There was something I could do that had value. And I was so upset about the environment, and I felt so powerless. And when I found out that my fork and my individual decisions had a great deal to do with driving dollars and driving subsidies and driving an industry that would fulfill our real needs, then I could participate with my own choices, and that was very powerful for me. And I decided to dedicate my life to that. I mean, I literally made a decision. This is what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do.
Right.
But I had this film background.
Right.
And like I said, I think it's easier to stand in front of a camera and talk to me and show you than it is to write.
Yeah.
And how do you, when you write, read a cookbook, it's very difficult to really see. You want to see what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I'd like to produce a lot more cooking shows. I think they're fun.
Yeah, I would love to see you having a regular Chef
would.
Teton show.
Yeah, I would like to have a show.
That would be fun.
We'll have a show together on their own network.
There you go. Yeah. Watch out, Oprah.
Yeah.
We're on our way. We're coming your way.
Coming your way. We're going to add great value content to your programming. We are.
It's true. Well, thank you so much for.
You're so welcome.
For inviting me into your home and my lovely husband, and
thank you, Rena.
This whole process has just been really, really great and wonderful. And your house is amazing. We might take a couple of stock shots just to see, this amazing place where she lives.
Very welcome.
Yeah, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you very much.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our thoroughly informative and entertaining interview with Susan Teton, where we learned how she got her start, her passion for health and well-being through essential oils and living foods, and how she came to be in this wonderful and beautiful place. I had a great time getting to know Susan, and even Ryan was in awe of this beautiful place which Susan calls home. After such a great interview, both my husband and I had worked up a serious appetite. So Susan suggested we pick something up at the nearby health food store in Kahului called Alive and Well. Now, Alive and Well is the place to get many, if not all, of your great fruits and vegetables for your healthy lifestyle, if you happen to be in Maui. Let's see what Ryan and I got to eat, shall we? We're in Kahului, and I'm enjoying a Maui mac, which has romaine lettuce, tomato, avocado, this like a tomato, sun-dried tomato pate, honey, almond, multigrain, dripping goodness.
Let's
I
see
also
you
have
try.
a fantastic coconut coleslaw, and then Ryan. So this has sprouts, coconut, kale, carrot, cabbage, all these K and C words. And then Ryan has this, although it does not look appetizing, it tastes really well. Good. It's a ono something wrapped in taro leaf
With
sweet potato.
Molokai sweet potato, right?
Molokai sweet potato and coconut. And then for dessert, we get to have pardon me. We get to have lilikoi tapioca. So I'm gonna take another bite of this. We'll see how it goes. I may end up having to eat the rest with a fork. I really rough it.
Okay, bye.
Let's face it, there is nothing more magical than seeing an ancient sea turtle swimming in the clear waters of Maui. Nothing more majestic than the soothing sway of the bamboo forest in the Ohio Gulch. Nor anything more magnificent than the 400-foot drop of the Waimoku Falls. I want to take a moment to thank my best friend Michelle, whose wedding in Maui made all of these experiences possible. And to my husband, Ryan, for believing in my work and helping me to make this show into a reality. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Aloha.